Hello everyone, welcome back. For today's topic, we will be dealing with where there is a wheel, not where there is a will, but where there is a wheel, written by P. Sainath. So please have your textbooks and a pencil with you. Let's get started. Palagummi Sainath, he is an Indian journalist and his main focus is on the social problems, the rural affairs, poverty and the aftermath of globalization in India. So this essay is taken from his book called Everybody Loves a Good Drought. So please make sure to write all these things in your answers in order to get good marks. Now moving on. Where there is a wheel, written by P. Sainath. So you might have heard the quote saying that where there is a will, there is a way. So here we have where there is a wheel. So wheel, cycling has become a medium of independence for the rural women of Pudukkottai, a district in Tamil Nadu. So the topic is about cycling and how revolutionary it became. So, Pudukkottai is a small district in Tamil Nadu. Cycling as a social movement sounds far-fetched. So, cycling as a social movement, you might have seen protesting as a social movement, right? You might have seen other things as social movement, but cycling, how is it going to revolutionize something? How is it going to change something? So, it is far-fetched. Far-fetched means unlikely. It is not as simple as that. It is not possible. Cycling, what kind of revolution can cycling make? It is far-fetched, perhaps. Maybe for others, yes, but not all that far. Not to tens and thousands of neo-literate women in Pudukkottai district. So it is not for, it might be not for everyone, but it is very likely for the rural women of Pudukkottai, and these women are neo-literate. Neo-literate are the people who are newly educated. Suppose I did not have education in a formal manner at the early stages of my childhood, I can get them in an informal way at the later stages of my life. And that is called as neo-literate. So these women of rural Pudukkottai, they were neo-literates. People find ways, sometimes curious ones, of hitting out at their backwardness. So people had to overcome backwardness. See, women especially, they were confined to the kitchens. Right? They were supposed to look after the household activities. They were supposed to look after the husband, the children. They were mainly focused on doing all these things. But some time afterwards, they were fed up of all these things and they thought, no, I should do something. And that is when they started hitting at their backwardness by expressing defiance. Defiance is nothing but resistance. They started resisting all the negatives that they were experiencing. They started rejecting all the negative stuff they were experiencing. They started confronting, of hammering at the fetters that hold them. Fetters are nothing but the shackles, the handcuffs that bind the wrists together. So the women didn't have a lot of freedom. They did not have a lot of power to take matters into their own hands. Right? So they thought enough is enough. We also should do something good for ourselves. It is not, a woman's position is not always in the kitchen. It is not always confined or limited at the space of a household. No, she can go above and beyond. So when women realize, they will start resisting and they will try to break free from the shackles, the handcuffs that are holding them together. In this, one of India's poorest districts, cycling seems to be the chosen medium for rural women. So the rural women of Pudukkottai, mind you, Pudukkottai is one of the poorest districts. So here, women have chosen cycling as the medium. Right, so they have chosen cycling. During the past 18 months, over 10,000 rural women, most of them neo-literates, have taken to bicycling as a symbol of independence, freedom and mobility. So all these women, the neo-literate women, the newly educated literate women, so what they have done is they're choosing cycling as a symbol of independence. They no longer have to depend on the male members of the family. Right? They can do things on their own. With a cycle, they can move wherever they want. They can do whatever they want. So, a symbol of independence was cycle. Next, freedom. It was also a symbol of freedom. I need not depend on a male member accompanying me every time I go out. Maybe he's tired, maybe he's not available, but there is an urgency for me to go out. I no longer have to depend on a man. I can take things to my own hand and I can move. And mobility. Mobility again means moving from one place to another. So complete dependence on men was uh, was gone because of the help of cycling, right? If we exclude girls below 10 years of age, it would mean that over one fourth of all rural women have learned cycling. So majority of the women of rural Pudukkottai, they all had started cycling, and over 70,000 of these women have taken part in public exhibition come contest to proudly display their new skills. See, the women also um, they wanted to showcase their talent. So what they did was 70,000 of these women, they took part in exhibition come contest and they displayed their skills, and still the training camps and desire to learn continue. So 70,000 is not a very less number of people, it is quite large. But then again, despite the number of people, that didn't stop them. There were still many people who were eager to learn cycling, and they wanted to help other women to learn cycling as well. In the heart of rural Pudukkottai, young women zip along the roads on their bicycles. Jamila Bibi, who has taken to cycling, told me it is my right. We can go anywhere. Now I wouldn't have to wait for the bus. I know people made dirty remarks when I started cycling, but I paid no attention. So if you cross across the district of Pudukkottai, you will see n number of women, young women. So what they do is they take bicycles and they start their journey, whether it is for work or whatever it is. They try to take their bicycles, and one of the ladies of that particular place, who is called Jamila Bibi, she tells that it is my right. Cycling has become my right now. I can go anywhere that I want and I need not wait for any bus. So it has become convenient for me. I'll not have to wait at the bus stop for a particular time. I'll have to go when I can go anywhere that I want. And then she acknowledges the fact that there were people who made dirty remarks at her. So when a woman starts off something new, it is natural that she faces a lot of critiques from the people. So you know that when a woman starts off something new, she will face a lot of criticism from the people. The same way here, Jamila Bibi says that I did face a lot of these remarks, but I did not care. I gave them no attention at all. I knew they were talking ill about me, but I did not care. For me, I was important. My freedom was important. Next comes another lady. She is called Fatima, a secondary school teacher, so addicted to cycling that she hires a bicycle for half an hour each evening. She cannot yet afford to buy. Each one costs over 1200. So there is another lady, she is a secondary school teacher by name Fatima. See, she is so addicted to cycling. So back in those days, we had the ability of renting a bicycle for few hours, right? It was based on the hourly usage. So she tells every day, whenever possible, she would take the bicycle for half an hour and then she would go in the evening, because she is not able to buy one for herself now. It costs around 1200 and she says, I cannot pay so much, but I have the amount to hire, so I hire a bike and then I go around. And then Fatima says there is freedom in cycling. We are not dependent on anyone now. So I get the sense of freedom when I am riding a bicycle, and I don't have to depend on anyone now. I can do things on my own terms. I can never give this up. So she got the taste of her freedom and she says, I will never give this up. So this will be continuing for a long time. Jamila, Fatima and their friend Avakani, all in their early 20s, have trained scores of young women from their community in the art of cycling. See, the women got the taste of freedom. So what they are doing is they are trying to share the same with others by teaching them how to ride a bicycle. So there are these three people. There is Jamila, there is Fatima, and there is another lady, Avakini, and these are not elderly people. These are young people. They are inspiring others also to ride bicycles. Next, cycling has swept across the district. Women, agricultural workers, quarry laborers, and village health nurses are among its fans. Cycling has created a storm, right? Many people are indulging themselves in the art of cycling. So, women, especially agricultural workers, quarry laborers, and village health nurses. So, these are the fans for cycling. They're joining the rush are Balwadi and Anganwadi workers and gem cutters and school teachers. So all these people, despite belonging to different occupations, their primary focus is on cycling, which has made their lives very much easier. So there are these Balwadis and Anganwadis. So all these workers who work alongside the children, younger ones, so they are also addicted to cyclings. And then again you have gram sevikas and midday meal workers, they are also not far behind. So all these people are involved in the art of cycling. The vast majority are those who have just become literate. So the majority of the people that have joined the race, joined the rush, are the neo-literates, the newly literates. The district's vigorous literacy drive, led by Arivoli Ayakam, which is called as Light of Knowledge Movement, has been quick to tap this energy. So, forgive me if I'm pronouncing things wrong. The district vigorous literacy drive. So, the district was already going through some of the literacy drives. So, they were encouraging people to get education. So, when this was going on, this is called by the name Arivoli Iyakam, okay, which is also called in English Light of Knowledge Movement. Light of Knowledge Movement, which is a literary movement, has been quick to tap this energy. Every one of the neo-literate, neo-cyclist women I spoke to saw a direct link between cycling and her personal independence. So cycling was not just a medium of entertainment for them. They could just ride wherever they want, do whatever they want. It was not simply about that. It was also for a woman to find her independence, right? She also had to dedicate some of the time for herself, and she could do so by choosing cycling. The main thing, said N. Kannamal, Arivoli's central coordinator. N. Kannamal is the Arivoli central coordinator. What they say is one of the pioneers of cycling movement was the confidence it gave to the women. Very importantly, it reduced their dependence on men. So largely, especially in India, especially the women, especially in the rural region, the men were dominant towards the women. The women were completely dependent on the men. So Kannamal says that due to cycling, why did people choose cycling? Why did the women, the children, the younger girls choose cycling? Because it gave them the confidence that they could not get from other activities. Cycling gave them the confidence. Very importantly, it reduced the dependence of them on the men. So I need not wait for a husband, for my husband or my father or my brother to accompany me. I can go wherever I want by myself. So I had the confidence because of the cycling. Now we often see a woman doing a 4-kilometer stretch on her cycle to collect water, sometimes with her children. So what women were doing, how beautifully they used this opportunity. They did not have to walk for a longer distance to carry water on their heads. They were using the cycles, and they started using the cycles for 4-kilometer stretch. They used to go, come back, riding bicycles, and sometimes you would see the women doing this along with the children. How strong and independent the women have become. Even carting provisions from one place to other could be done on their own. So people could do these things. Women especially could do any of these things independently by themselves. And thanks to bicycle that this was possible. But believe me, women had to put up with vicious attacks on their character when this began. So many made filthy remarks, but Arivoli gave cycling social sanctum, so women took it. So, listening to all the improvements that have happened in the women's life, we might feel like, yes, cycling has brought some good things, but at the same time, women had to bear the consequences of cycling. It was on the men's part where they said that they made filthy remarks on the character of a woman. See, when a woman listens to the men in the family or the men in the society, she is considered to be a very good person. But at the same time, when she doesn't follow anything and she goes on in her own choices, that is when she is considered to be very bad. So that is what is happening here. She was confined to the kitchen, confined to the household activities. She was never questioned. But when she broke down the barriers and tried to move further, she had to face a lot of problems. But what happened? The Arivoli Ayakam, the literacy movement, gave them an opportunity, and the people started taking it. The people started enjoying the newly found freedom. Early among them, Kannammal herself, though a science graduate, she had never mustered the courage to cycle earlier. So Kannammal herself, she did not even have the courage earlier, but now today she's speaking in behalf of thousands of women. So that is the power cycling gave them all. Visiting an Airivoli cycling training camp is an unusual experience. In Kilakurichi village, all the prospective learners had turned out in their Sunday best. You can't help being struck by the sheer passion of the pro cycling movement. Right. So the writer says that when he visited the cycling training camp, an Arivoli cycling training camp, it was an unusual experience for him, because in the village of Kilakurichi, many people, many learners had turned out in their Sunday best, right? So they had dressed themselves in such a way that it would be convenient for them to ride bicycles. And then he tells, you can't be struck, so you will be amazed at the number of participants that there were. And at the same time, all these people had sheer passion, complete passion of the pro cycling movement. They had passion towards a new movement. They had to know cycling offered a way out of enforced routines for them. The women waking up early in the morning before everyone wakes up, gets the breakfast ready, prepares for the lunch, and sometimes looks at what are the ingredients that are required for the dinner. So her routine starts in the early morning before everybody gets up, and at the same time it will end only after everyone has fallen asleep. So the women had a strict routine. All of the women had strict routine which came from many years ago. But now, thanks to cycling, they are coming out of their enforced routines. So because instead of walking, if they're using a bicycle to fetch water, they would have some time left for themselves. So this is how the women thought, and they were very happy that they could come out of these routines around male imposed barriers. So there were certain barriers, there were certain male imposed barriers, right? These were given out, these rules were made by the men. You're not supposed to go out without the help of a man. You're always supposed to do this, do that. So they could break all these shackles thanks to cycling here. The new cyclists, newly learned cyclists, even sing song produced by Arivoli to encourage bicycling. One of these lines has, "Oh sister, come learning, move with the wheel of time." So they also had to encourage other learners, persuade them also to break the barriers and embrace newfound freedom. So how they encouraged is, they started singing songs. They have given one of the lines here. Very large numbers of those trained have come back to help new learners. Suppose I have learned the art of cycling, and then I am also ready now to teach other learners how to ride bicycle as well. So there was an interest within the entire village. to show the new learners about cycling. So everyone had the passion of teaching as well. They work free of charge for Arivoli. So these teachers who are teaching how to ride a bicycle, they're not charging anything. They're doing this free of cost, as oddly named master trainers. So they are also called master trainers. Master trainers are those people, those women who have learned cycling, and they're teaching the new learners how to ride bicycles. So they're called as master trainers. There is not only a desire to learn, but a widespread perception among them that all women ought to learn cycling. No, they're not spreading the message of you learn the bicycling stuff. They're not telling only that, they're also telling that you ought, you must definitely learn cycling, because this has a lot of opportunities for you to come out of the barriers that the women have faced from years ago. So you will have the ability, you will have the chance to come out of the problems if you learn cycling. The new cyclists are bound even more passionately than before to Arivoli. So they're also having a lot of passion towards the art of cycling than they had before. So now they're eagerly waiting for these opportunity. Now the whole phenomena was the brainchild of the popular former district collector Sheila Rani Chunkat. So who is this lady? She was the former district collector. Sheila Rani Chunkat was the former district collector. So it was her idea, it was her brainchild to start off something called as cycling. Her idea in 1991 was to train female activists. So she wanted to train the female activists so that the literacy would reach women in the interior. Right, so literacy rate must increase somehow, and Sheila Rani Chunkat thought that if we motivate the women, if we go to the interior parts of the women, then we would definitely fulfill the job. Now, she also included mobility as a part of the literacy drive. This followed from the fact that lack of mobility among the women played a big role in undermining the confidence. So, suppose I need to go into the interior parts of the villages. I cannot cover the entire distance by foot. So there is a bicycle innate for me, then I can definitely use it. I can do a lot of stuff because of cycling. So this is how the whole idea started, right? So she also included mobility. Mobility is the freedom to move wherever I want. So Sheila Rani Chunkat included also mobility in her activities. This flowed from the fact that lack of mobility among women played a big role in undermining their confidence. I don't have enough mobility. I am confined to a particular place. I don't have knowledge about the other places and all. That means I'm not confident. When that happens, I'm not confident. I know everything, then I will have some confidence in me. So what she did was, Chunkat pushed the banks to give loans to women to buy bicycles. She also got each block to accept specific duties in promoting the drive. As the top official in the district, she gave it personal attention, great personal attention. So she thought, maybe I'll have to do something, and that is when she will push the banks to provide loans for the women who were interested in purchasing bicycles. So like we all learned earlier, the cost of a bicycle was somewhere around 1200, right? 1200 rupees. And most of the women, when they could not afford a bicycle, they were going for a renting provisions which were made. So now what Sheila Rani did was, she gave the banks the permission to give personal loans in order to obtain a personal bicycle, and then she also helped other people to promote this drive. As she was the top official of the district, she also gave personal attention to it. Being a woman, she understood the importance of giving another woman a lot of independence. That is why she gave it a personal touch. First, the activists learned cycling, then neo literates wanted to learn, every woman wanted to learn. So it was like a disease, right? Not a disease actually, it was something that spread from one person to another person. within a short span of time. First, the activists, they started learning, and then it was the new cyclist, and then every woman, despite whoever she is, they wanted to learn. Not surprisingly, this led to the shortage of ladies cycles. So because there was high number of demands for the ladies cycles, within a short period of time there was shortage in the ladies bicycles. Never mind, gen cycles would do just as nicely. Thank you. Some women prefer the latter, as these have an additional bar from the seat to the handle. So women did not care. There was shortage of ladies bicycles, and then they did not care. We have gen bicycles as well, and the advantage of the gen cycle is that from the handle towards the seat you will have a bar in between, right? So they had an additional advantage of this one. So what they could do with this one is, you can seat a child on that, and to this day thousands of women have ride gen cycles. Thousands of others dream of the day when they will be able to afford any bicycle at all. So they might have the children on the bar in the front of them, or they might carry other goods and things like that, the cards of provisions or whatever they require, they can carry that onto the bar and then they can move on, right? So many people were happy that their dreams have come true, and some of them were only hoping that a day comes where they could afford a bicycle. After the International Women's Day in 1992, this district could never be the same. Flags on the handlebars, bells ringing, over 1,500 female cyclists took Pudukkottai by storm. Their all-women cycle rally stunned the town's inhabitants with its massive showing. So it so happened in 1992, during the International Women's Day, around 1,500 female cyclists in Pudukkottai, they took the district by storm. So they had the flags, they had their bells ringing, and they did a rally inside of their district, and they were very happy about it. It was a massive showing. What did the males think? Women are having the best time of their life. So what is happening with the men? What did they think? One who had to approve was S. Kanakarajan, owner of Ram Cycles. So S. Kanakarajan was the owner of Ram Cycles. He says he is the single dealer. This single dealer saw a raise of over 350% to the sales of ladies cycles in 1 year. Right? It was 350% increase in the sale of ladies cycles within 1 year of time, and then the writer says that figure is probably an underestimate for two reasons. So he's telling, I'm definitely not sure if it is the correct figure, and then he gives two reasons for it. One, a lot of women unable to wait for ladies cycles went in for the gent cycles. So here he said that yes, Kanakarajan said that there is 350% increase in the ladies cycles in 1 year, increase in the ladies cycles. But you already learned that people did not wait for ladies cycle only. When there was shortage of ladies cycles, they went for the gent cycle as well. So Kanakarajan is only talking about ladies cycle. So it was increase in the 350%. And then Kanakarajan shared this information with me with great caution. So he was worried. Why was he worried? For all he knew, I was an undercover agent of the sales tax department. So Kanakarajan was worried that the author here, he was from the tax department, sales tax department. That is why he did not give exact figures. In any case, not all males were hostile. Hostile means opposing them. So they were not rude. You have understood that when the women started riding their bicycle, a lot of the men actually, they started teasing the women. They started talking about their character in a negative manner and all. But here he says it was not all the men. There were some good men as well, Not all of them were hostile, some were even encouraging. So some of the men were even encouraging women to do the cycling part. So one of them is Muthu Bhaskaran, a male Arivoli activist, for instance. So he wrote the famous cycling song that has become their anthem. So Muthu Bhaskaran is one of those people. He is an activist for the Arivoli Icon movement, literacy movement. So he is the one who has written songs for the cycling movement, and this song has become the anthem for the ladies who are riding their bicycles. When in the blazing heat of Kudimiyanmalai's stone quarries, you run into Manohar Mani, 22 training others, you know it's all worth it. So he tells you move towards the stone quarries in one of the places. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing things wrong. So in Kudimiyanmalai's stone quarries, you will run into Manohar Mani. This girl is mere 22 years old and she is training others for cycling, and then you will understand that this is all worth it, right? Woman, she is young lady, she's training all the others. A quarry worker and Arivoli volunteer herself, she thinks it is vital meaning essential, that her co-workers learn cycling. So you will have to walk for a long distance, right? Quarries are usually they're quite away from the human habitation, right? So in order to walk for a long distance, it would be very problematic. Whereas thanks to Manohar Mani and all, she is encouraging others also, and instead of walking, they can use their cycles, and then she is helping others participate in this. Our areas are a little cut off, she told me. So Manohar Mani says to the writer, our areas are a little cut off. That means we don't have proper roads. We'll have to sometimes walk through forest areas, uninhabited areas, and we are scared. But because of cycle, we can go wherever we want. Those who know cycling can be mobile. So people who know cycling, they can be mobile. That means they can move from one place to another place without any worries or tensions. In a single week in 1992, the same year, during the International Women's Day, where 1,500 female activists participated. In the same year, 70,000 women displayed their cycling skills at the public cum exhibition contests run by Arivoli. So Arivoli ICOM also will have this exhibition come contest. There 70,000 women will display their skills, and this was an impressed UNICEF sanctioned 50 mopeds for Arivoli women activists. So what they did was, the UNICEF, it will give out 50 mopeds for the Arivoli women, also to encourage others. Now next, cycling has had very definite economic implications. So economically as well, cycling has become very important for the women. How is it? It boosts income. So the money has been generating thanks to the ability of cycling. Some of the women here sell agriculture or other produce within a group of villages. For them, the bicycle cuts down on time wasted in waiting for buses. There is a scheduled time during which the buses come and go to and forth from one village to another village. Suppose I miss one, I'll have to wait for another one for a long duration of time. But at the same time, if I have a bicycle with me, then I can carry all my produce, agricultural produce, whatever fruit or vegetables that I've grown, or any products that I have to sell to another village, then I can do that on my own through my bicycle. I can ride my bicycle to any other places. I can move anywhere and sell the products that I have, and I will not have to waste any time in waiting at the bus stop. This is crucial in poorly connected routes. Secondly, it gives you much more time to focus on selling your produce. Right. So first thing is, you can go anywhere. Instead of waiting at the bus, you can go anywhere on your own convenient time. Second one is, it will give you much time to focus on selling your produce. So you can focus only on selling your produce. More time to, you can focus on selling only your produce. Thirdly, it enlarges that area that you can hope to cover. Suppose I cover two villages without the help of bicycle. With the help of bicycle, I can cover more villages, say 3 to 4 extra villages I can cover thanks to the bicycle that I have. Lastly, it can increase your leisure time too, should you choose. So, if you are interested, if you want to have some leisure time for yourself, then you can definitely choose to have some leisure time for yourself as well. So what happened? What are the economic implications? That is, you can sell your products, you can cover a lot of distance within short duration of time. You will not be dependent completely on the buses, right? You can cover all these distance by your bicycle, and you can focus more on the agricultural produce or any of the produce that you have. Next, small producers who used to wait for buses were often dependent on fathers, brothers, husbands, or sons to even reach bus stops, right? So women were dependent completely on the men. They were supposed to wait for the husband or the father or the brother or their son. They could never go by themselves. They were never independent. But now, thanks to cycle, they can choose to go by themselves. They could cover only a limited number of villages to sell their produce. So they were selling only the villages that they could cover by walk, 2 to 3 villages hardly. Sometimes not even that if they did not have time. Now they can go back. Right? Those who cannot afford bicycles still do. These women uh, had to rush back early to tend to the children and perform other chores like fetching water. So what happens, some of the women who cannot afford the bicycles, what they're doing is by walk they are going to different places, try to sell their produce, and they would come back and they would tend the children. Tend the children meaning they would look after the children, and then they would perform other chores. Chores are works, right? They would do other works like fetching water. They would go fetch the water. See, without bicycle doing all these tasks would seem very much. But with the help of bicycle, it has become very convenient. Those who have bicycles now combine these different tasks with nonchalance. Right? So now they can do all these things without any disturbances. They can do this with calmness and relaxed manner. In calmness and relaxed manner, which means you, even along with some remote road, see a younger mother, child on the bar, produce on the carrier. She could be carrying 2, perhaps even 3 pots of water hung across the back and cycling towards home. So what would the women be doing here? They would have their produce on the handlebar. You remember the gen cycle have an additional bar in the front. So they would have the child seated on that, or at the same time they would tie some ropes around the pots and they would try to carry the pots back and forth. Right, so in the remote corners, you would see women doing all these things at the same time. They'd be looking after the children, they'd be carrying the produce, they'd be carrying the water pots, right? And she would be going home. She could do all these things with the help of a cycle. Yet, it would be very wrong to emphasize the economic aspect over all else. Right? So if you focus only on the economic stuff here, it would be wrong to some extent. Why? The sense of self-respect it brings is vital. So the women, yes, definitely economically they are trying to grow. They have a lot of benefits since the cycle has come. But at the same time, if the women focus only on the economic implications that has come because of cycling, they say it is definitely wrong. Why? The self-respect has become very vital. Cycling has become a medium for the self-respect within the woman. Of course, it's not economic, says Fatima. We are not talking only about the economic aspect. There are other stuff also. What are those? Giving me a look that made me feel rather stupid. What money do I make from cycling? I lose money. This is one of the perspectives of the women. Majority of the women have some economical positive implications on them, but then at the same time, Fatima, one of her opinions is that I've lost money because of cycling. I lose money, I cannot afford a bicycle, but I hire one every evening just to feel that goodness, that independence. So she's telling, no, I'm in fact losing money. I'm not, for it depends on people. right? So how I am using the bicycle is completely dependent on me. So Fatima, who is unable to pay for one, she says that to feel that goodness, to feel that freedom, I am hiring a bicycle every evening. She says, never before reaching Pudukkottai had I seen this humble vehicle in that light, that bicycle as a metaphor for freedom. So Sainath says that while he is interviewing all these people, he says that never before entering into this place did I think that cycling has become a metaphor for freedom. Cycling is nothing but freedom. So I could never imagine this. That is why in the starting lines he says that cycling as a social movement, it is very unlikely. But once you enter into the village, once you understand the perspective of the women, what cycling has done to the women, what are the economical implications, or also personally how do the women feel, only then you would understand the importance of cycling. It is difficult for people to see how big this is for rural women. I wouldn't know. People in the urban setting wouldn't know how important it is for the rural women to take up cycling. This is said by Kannamal. It is a Himalayan achievement like flying an aeroplane for them. People may laugh, only the women know how important it is. So this cycling as a movement, it is not dedicated to all the people of Pudukkottai, right? It is for the women. The women chose it for themselves as a medium of defiance, right? They wanted to resist how the male imposed barriers were burdening them over time. The women couldn't do things on their own. Now, thanks to cycling, it has become a Himalayan achievement for them. It is a huge success for them. And for others, it cannot be understood easily. But for the women, rural women of this region, it is like flying an aeroplane. People may laugh, people may make jokes, but for us, it is a great achievement. She says, only we know how important it is. Now, talking about the postscript, that is, after this was written, Sainath tells, when I returned to Pudukkottai in April 1995, so 3 years after, so 1992, they will experience the International Women's Day and how 70,000 women were identified by UNICEF and they will be given 50 mopeds and all. So after that, from 1992 to 1995, so he would not be there, so he'll come back, and again in 1995 when he goes there, he will see that the craze was still on. The craze, the mania, the obsession when it comes to cycling, it was still prevalent after 3 years, but a large number of women were unable to afford bicycles. So despite women being interested, they could not afford bicycles because they were expensive. Each now cost around 1400. So back then it was 1200. So now from 1200 it has gone up to 1400, and again many women were not able to afford them, and a new generation was coming up that was too young to gain from the first round. So there was an also another generation of girls that was coming up who were very eager. So they did not have much idea, but over time definitely they'd also learn. But Pudukkottai remains unique among Indian districts for the stunning proportion of women who have taken to cycling and the enthusiasm for gaining the skill among the rest. So it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage for the women to break the shackles and do something for themselves. So the narrator tells that among the Indian districts, Pudukkottai is a unique one because the number of women who have been into cycling is very large, right? It's quite a large number that the women have been into cycling, and the enthusiasm is still there, right? So this is the chapter of Where There Is a Wheel, written by P. Sainath. So you should understand that there was an Arivoli Icum, the Light of Literacy movement, Light of Knowledge movement. So this is a movement where the people wanted literacy rate, and when the literacy rate to be increased, women were also moved into the corners of the other district, so they could not do this by walking. So in order to go into the inner parts of the districts, they had to take bicycles. And when few women started using bicycles for their convenience, other women also found it very important, right? So this is all about Where There Is a Wheel, written by P. Sainath. You have any doubts, you can ask them in the comment section. And then thank you. Prepare well. Thank you.